What's good, y'all, man? It's the Prodigy, and I was just about to do a little, at least 10-minute video, real quick, talking about obviously, if you don't hear the recent news of certain people who've passed away, legendary, famous people who passed away recently. I think it was Ozzy Osbourne. I forgot the other guy's name. There was another guy's name that was legendary. I think Bill Cosby. I forgot his name, but the one I'm here to talk about though on this particular video, as a wrestling fan, as you guys know, is Hulk Hogan, man. And rest in peace to Hulk Hogan, man. I did say it on my Twitter X as it happened. And I just wanted to really quick just say some things that I've seen of Hogan as far as like in wrestling, because obviously as the 20-year-old man, you know what I'm saying, like obviously that wouldn't have been my time, so I wouldn't have been like, oh, I remember this memory, I remember that, I remember this, or I'm really super sad or anything. Not gonna act like that. But I will say from the moments that I have seen, I can see like the appeal. I can see the magic. You could definitely tell that you could definitely tell, and you could definitely find out pretty quickly if you didn't know just how much he meant to pro wrestling and just how much he meant to, especially to the WWE, man. Like, before, Hogan was there, wrestling, I guess, was kind of, you could say, more local. But then as Hogan, did the Saturday Night Live, and did the Rocky movie, and, getting, Cyndi Lauper in there, and getting, there's like, I think it was, Muhammad Ali as the referee, and the first ever WrestleMania, main event in the first ever WrestleMania with, Paul Orndorff, Roddy Piper, Mr. T, all that good stuff. And just going to do all this promotion for the WWE, man, like, and like I said, joining in the celebrities and stuff like that is literally what made wrestling like mainstream, what made wrestling global. Like, of course, you got people like Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, and others who like took it to the next level in the Attitude Era. But for those who don't know, yeah, like if it's not for Hogan and what he did for the game, uh, like it obviously wouldn't be where it's at right now, So understandably, as far as a personal thing is concerned, obviously, like it would make sense for some people, obviously, me would be included, of, certain things that were said, to say the least, certain things that were said about, the melanin, you know what I'm saying, the stuff that was said about all color in the leaked tapes of him using that N word, you know what I'm saying? And my thing was, it came. I didn't even know about it when it came out, because at the time it came out, I was like 10 or 11, so I didn't even know about it, and I wasn't really actively watching wrestling around that time. I think that was when I kind of actually stopped watching wrestling, so I didn't know anything about it, didn't keep up with any wrestling news. So at the time that happened, I didn't know about it. And there's, like I say, obvious reasons to not like him, for the lies and for the racism in the past, and for maybe who he supported politically, with him going out there doing the stuff with Trump. I think that was earlier this year or last year or something. I forget. I think that might have been this year or last year. I forget. But yeah, doing the stuff with, being at his campaign and stuff. I can understand for those who get into that type of, stuff as far as political and stuff like that, why you would not like him. But I'm one of those people, as someone who strives to be a much better Christian, understands that we have to be, forgiving of people, and how, I mean, it's fine if you don't like somebody, but you have to, be forgiving of people, especially Hogan, who has apologized and tried to, make up for his mistakes, hopefully, as he said, giving his life to God and getting baptized like how he did. Hopefully he did give his life to God. I'm not one of those people that hold a grudge against anybody. Like, everybody has the ability to change, and if you truly are repenting and growing and getting better and getting a closer relationship to God, he will forgive you. So as somebody who is in that realm and in that mindset and in that school of thought, I know everybody here ain't gonna be religious, but as somebody who lives that type of life and has that school of thought, like, everybody has a chance to be forgiven, and hopefully behind closed doors he did grow and get better. Like I said, I know people didn't like him for, like I say, the racism, the lies, the political stuff, as far as literal politics, and the politicking and wrestling, you know what I'm saying? So far from a perfect individual, But at the same time, you gotta understand, like, hopefully, like I said, hopefully the person got better and truly did, give his life to God, so that he, went up there when it was all said and done. But I think they said he died at, well, I know he died at 71, but I think they said cardiac arrest. I think it was cardiac arrest, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was cardiac arrest that they said, man. So that's just very unfortunate. And I'm gonna also say that in this section is gonna be of me talking about, like, how, the people on Twitter, man, like, or X, like, it's just bad, bro. Like, the way they're already making jokes. And the only reason why I'm smirking a little bit is because it's so messed up. Like, okay, first I'm gonna say the jokes, and then some of the jokes I heard, and then I'm gonna, like, say how, like, that's just, like, not right. And I know people, I get it. I gotta be fair, I gotta be real, I gotta call a spade a spade. I am one of those people that have laughed at some dark jokes. I can't even lie to you. I have laughed at that dark humor type of thing. But man, it's just, with Hogan, I think somehow it was like him versus, I can't even say it now without smirking, bro. This is supposed to be serious, bro. Somehow it was like Hulk Hogan versus Benoit inside Hell in a Cell, because, God, man, it's just, it gets to a point, bro. Like, God, dog. But I'm not even about to delve into it, because I might, end up slipping up laughing. But anyway, just because, again, the dark humor, bro, I know. Anyway, for the people that, like, internet ain't never gonna, let nobody down. Like, no matter how good or bad the person was, the internet is, they're just a bunch of soulless bastards, man. They make the jokes fast. And the thing I wanted to highlight the most is the people who are literally like, yay, celebrating finally Hogan's dead, yay. The people who are doing that, bro, man, I get if you didn't like them personally, but bro, don't ever celebrate, even if you didn't like them, or even, even if you didn't like them. Like, I wasn't a big fan of Hogan as, like, a human being. I wasn't a big fan of, I wasn't like, I hate this guy, but I wasn't, like, a big fan after hearing the stuff he did and stuff like that. But I did like when I'm gonna talk about the end of some of the wrestling moments that I did see of his, watching it back, that were just cool to me. But, even if you don't like somebody personally, bro, all you could do is, like, either pray for that person or just move on from that person, man. Like, at the end of the day, them being dead, how does that help you? Like, how does it help you knowing that somebody you didn't know, just because you didn't like him and he's dead now, how does that give you any joy, considering that person did nothing to you personally? And if they did, that's up to you if you want to, do that. And I don't think you should do that. That to me, that's not right to celebrate anybody's death, even if they weren't the best person. To me, I just don't believe in, like, celebrating somebody's death, because at the end of the day, they're gone. Like, what good is it to go, yay, throw a celebration? Like, because at the end of the day, our time on this earth, it's like, bro, you over here celebrating somebody's death like your time ain't limited too. Like, bro, we all gonna have a day where we gone. Whether that be, and the crazy thing about life is you don't know what your expiration day, bro. It could be soon, it could be later. You never got done know. So for all the people that's like, making, crazy jokes out of it, or just as far as, like, in a way where you're intentionally just so happy and filled with joy that finally he's gone, bro. I'm hitting my Michael Jordan, man. Get some help, bro. For real though, cause, like, why are you celebrating, even if you didn't like them? Why are you celebrating somebody being dead, bro? Like, they're gone now. Like, and like I said, most of the people that be celebrating, bro, Hogan has not done anything to these people personally, and they got done throwing a celebration. And I'm sitting here like, bro, why are you happy as if you don't have a death day too? And another reason why, other than being, Christian or being a Christian and, like, trying to be a better human being and stuff like that. Another thing is, if I would, Hogan obviously had a family, he had kids, he had, people he was, married to and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, y'all gotta understand, like, these people have a family. So imagine you die and somebody celebrating that. And this is considering the fact that you got a family, you got kids, like, all this other stuff. Like, I wouldn't want somebody being happy that I was dead, especially, like, imagine, I'm thinking, like, for other people that celebrating, imagine you his kids in this situation, bro, like, and you see people on the internet celebrating the fact that your dad is dead. Like, what? You know what I'm saying? Just come on, bro. Like, because at the end of the day, like I say, all of our time is gonna come. So, like, what is it? what is it worth celebrating somebody else's death as if this ain't gonna happen to you too at some point? Like we all gonna die. We don't know how, but like we all gonna die at some point. So like what good is there in celebrating somebody's death, especially to somebody who hasn't done anything to you personally? You just didn't like them, so now it's great in the world is great now that this person's dead. I'm sitting there like, bro, it don't matter who die on this earth. There is always going to be problems. There's always going to be people you don't like. There's always going to be people you don't mess with. There's always going to be something going on in your life. There's always going to be your struggles that you have. There's always going to be problems that you deal with. So why are you getting like happy at this person being dead as if that just solves all of life's problems? Now you're good. Because now this person's dead. Like your life is just set now. Like, come on, bro. I just feel like people gotta have, I feel like at some point you gotta have like a soul, bro. You cannot let nobody, like you cannot develop a hatred, especially for somebody you don't know. You cannot develop a hatred for somebody so deep to where you're glad that they're removed from planet Earth. Like, come on, bro. I just think people like that just don't have a soul. You don't even gotta be religious just to realize like, yo, that's not cool to celebrate somebody, being dead and stuff like that, like getting happy off of that. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, even if they did something to you, let's say somebody died and like maybe they murdered a family member of yours, like if you celebrating their death, it's like some people can say, oh, well, that's justified, but I still don't think it is, just because of the simple fact that ain't gonna bring that person back. Like it's not like now that this person's dead, you can get your get back, like that you got revenge or like, because at the end of the day, like your family member ain't gonna come back just because that person gone now. That don't mean that don't make your family member come back. That don't make it even. And that's the biggest thing. Like even if that person is gone, like it don't make it like, oh, it's even now, or like you're not gonna get whoever they killed or whatever. You ain't gonna get them back. So it's like, what good is it, throwing a whole celebration for something like that? But that's just me, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, don't celebrate nobody's death, y'all, bro. Like have a soul, have a heart. Gotta understand how to separate a human being for what they did on this earth and their shortcomings and mistakes, and realizing when to just be like, you know what, man, for the good that, not that you would always know being a good person or anything, but at least, appreciate you for the good that you did do. Like I said, in professional wrestling specifically, appreciate him for the good that he did do. Nobody's perfect on this world, because I guarantee you, if somebody shined light on all the things you said and slipped up and said and laughed at things you maybe shouldn't have laughed at, or jokes you shouldn't have maybe made that were too far, or ways you may have offended people, or things you may have done, if somebody highlighted that and it went all over the internet and social media, I'm sure you would be like, you'd be scared, wouldn't you? Like now you'd be like, oh, like not a whole world that know what I did. They know my business. Like that's the thing. Now, it doesn't make it okay for Hogan to make the mistake, but it's stupid to make it seem like he's the only person that's ever said anything bad or made a mistake and all this other stuff. And like I said, this is not even coming from a person that really liked him like that, but did appreciate some of the wrestling moments like I'm about to name right now, which first one you could think about, like I said, the WrestleMania, first ever WrestleMania, stuff like that. Obviously, you could talk about the feuds that he had with Randy Savage, the match he had with Ultimate Warrior, obviously slamming Andre at WrestleMania 3, the heel turn Bash at the Beach 1996, to a lot, the greatest heel turn of all time, which, I wasn't around for that time, so I can't proudly say that, because, like, I wasn't there to see that moment, and that was a different time in wrestling, because as you could see people throwing trash and stuff, so, like, it was crazy there. Him coming back to WWE in, I think that was 2002, where he came with NWO. That was pretty cool with the NWO sign and that. I mean, that shirt still sells to this day. Like, that's crazy how iconic that shirt is. So, but them having the, almost literally, what was it, like 83 weeks of, like, beating the WWE in ratings, like, almost taking in the WWE out of business. Like that is freaking unprecedented. Like you're never gonna see that again. So the fact that somebody can have that type of impact from the NWO story, like, is crazy. And wrestling also will never feel that real or unpredictable ever again, like at that level, because it was a different time and stuff just works at certain times and all that other type of stuff. So another moment, the biggest moment probably for me, the most notable moment for me when it comes to Hogan, other than some of the times, he's returned and the crowds gave him a standing ovation, all this other type of stuff. Another moment you could say is Hogan, Rock, and Stone Cold in the middle of the ring when Hogan said the Silver Dome instead of the Super Dome. That was funny. But all three of those icons in the ring, considering Rock and Stone Cold are two of my like all-time favorites and greats. That was like a dope scene to see that just all those icons. And speaking of icons, like the most The best match I've seen from Hogan myself, like watched it in full more than one time, is clearly, my GOAT, The Rock. You know what I'm saying? The Rock versus Hogan, obviously, WrestleMania 18, and what was it, in Canada? I think it was Toronto. Toronto, Canada. 2002 WrestleMania 18 Icon versus Icon match. Man, the fact that, like, this is what every wrestler dreams of, is to get to such a level of, like, star power and get people so invested into the story and the characters that you're selling them on, to where before anybody even moves, the crowd is up going crazy. Yeah. Like, the crowd is absolutely losing it, even though y'all haven't even touched. Like, that's what every wrestler dreams of, that just stand in the ring and have people going absolutely crazy, sold out crowd pretty much, going absolutely crazy, and y'all haven't even done anything. And, they're obviously milking it, looking side to side and all this type of stuff. And, Rock ended up beating Hogan. But the fact that, like, Hogan went in as the heel, gonna lose to Rock, the, new top babyface babyface and established star, of that generation. And The Rock ends up the new star, the new basically big star in town, new face of the company, is getting booed, even though he's loved before it. Got booed in this match, and Hogan got cheered even though he went as the heel. Like, that double turn like that, how the crowd turned them like that, was insane. Like, that goes to show you how, like, Hogan really hit different levels of his business that nobody will ever see. It's been said before that, yeah, bro, there'll never be another Hulk Hogan, as far as just his impact, as far as how much he meant to the business. He was one of the faces of the WWE. A lot of people, say, like, Hogan, Stone Cold, Rock, and John Cena, as far as, like, the faces of the WWE. I mean, you look at Cody Rhodes, you look at John Cena, like, bro, before those guys, as far as being, like, the ultimate superhero for the kids, bro, before both of them, it was Hulk Hogan, man, for the 80s. So the man definitely was not a perfect human being by any means, but I feel it is fine to glorify at least how much he meant to wrestling. I get, personally, you can have your takes, you can have your thoughts, you can have your input there, but I feel he's one of those guys, I feel, despite that, we can still give him the rightful respect for what he did for the business. Because even if you don't like him, there's one of those situations of, you may not like somebody, but you can't deny, like, the facts. Like, the fact is, he is not, without him, like, WWE is not where they are today. Like, they're not mainstream. They're not doing all these celebrity collabs and getting more accepted by, mainstream media and all this stuff. Like, that does not happen if Hogan does not carry that torch, or basically carry the flag of WWE, everywhere he went. Like I said, the SNL and the different radio shows and the news and all this other stuff. So just promoting the WWF at the time, now WWE. Like, bro, you do not have the mainstream WWE that we have, like, as far as, like, everybody knows what WWE is and everybody knows what pro wrestling is. That does not happen if you do not have Hogan got done doing what he did, putting the company on his back, promoting it for all those years, 20 plus years, really like 30 years almost, like, doing in the business, more 20 for them, like, actively, but, 30 for, total, what I'm saying? But yeah, bro, just a legendary pro wrestler, man, who was able to evoke emotion, tell stories, and obviously was larger than life, man. I always think it was dope with him, with the mega powers, with him and Randy Savage, where you see them got done the magnetic, and then they got done and shake the hand. I don't know why I've always thought that was so cool, bro, every time I saw that. But it's just one of those situations that, like I said, I wasn't the big fan of him as, like, a human being, but I will say, wrestling wise, I wasn't like, oh my God, rejoicing, but I was able to see the appeal of, like, from the energy, from the look, to just the way he delivered things, what I'm saying? Let me tell you something, brother. What I'm saying? I got the appeal, what I'm saying? I was able to understand the appeal. Even if I wasn't a big fan, I could look and be like, yo, but for the people who were fans, like, I could understand the appeal. For me, that would obviously be John Cena, as far as, like, the big time superhero megastar in WWE. That would, for me, be John Cena. Loved John Cena, man. Massive fan, still to this day. So yeah, definitely, man. But yeah, man, love pro wrestling, bro, and you cannot act as if, even if you didn't like him personally, you gotta admit Hogan was a very valuable piece of the professional wrestling history, and also got a lot of your favorites into it. You know, my favorite included, you know, Rock and Stone Cold and like Triple H and others have admitted like, bro, like Hogan was why they got into the business. You know what I'm saying? So gotta be fair, gotta call a spade, you know what I'm saying? Gotta give credit where credit's due, even if you don't like that person personally, even if the reason you don't like them personally is justified. But love and appreciate you guys, man. I just wanted to got done give a rest in peace to Terry Bollea, Hulk Hogan, man. Legendary pro wrestler, man. You know, obviously had some things to work on as a human being and stuff like that. But shout out to him for what he did do for the business that we, you know, or I should say that me and all the other wrestling fans love to this day, man. So yeah, man. Trying to think, is there anything else that I wanted to say? It does suck that his last impression though was him getting booed at the beginning of the year, which, you know, again, you know, he did a lot of stuff personally, so it's not like that's shocking. But, you know, I'm one of those people that's like I said, again, even if you don't like the person personally, which I didn't really like him personally, but even then, even though I say I didn't like him personally, but I will admit I was still watching his interviews just because it was funny and you got a kick out of the lies. Like that eventually just became comedy. It was just him lying or over exact. It became funny at a certain point, bro. But yeah, it does suck that the last time we saw him was the Netflix debut earlier this year. And the crowd did boo him again. You know, that's what happens when you have that personal baggage. You know, people don't forget. The internet especially don't forget. And, you know, holds you to that. But don't celebrate nobody's death, y'all, because at the end of the day, death is inevitable and death is forever. And we only have a limited time on this planet. So hug your loved ones, man. Spend as much time with them as you can. Always leave saying you love somebody. Even if y'all were arguing or whatever, always leave saying that you love that person. Because the last thing you want to do is storm off on somebody you mad at and then and they end up having their last day and you left with, you know, that kind of tension and stuff like that. No matter what decisions family members, friends, whatever make, or y'all argument y'all got into, bro, always leave on a good note, because you never know what can happen down the line, man. But live life to the fullest, man. Whatever you want to accomplish, you know, it's cliche, but it's true. Whatever you want to, or you should do this, and that's just accomplish whatever dream you have in life, bro. You only have one life, and life is too short not to give it your all and give it your best shot at whatever you dream for, whatever your dream job is, dream career, bro. Go for it, because you never know when your last day is. So if this taught you nothing else, or if you learned nothing else from this video, it's that hug your loved ones, leave on a positive note every time, and go out, like, you know, live the life to the fullest, as far as just do the best you can, you know, to get your mental right, your physical right, your spiritual right. Do the best, be the best human being you could possibly be before you leave this planet, and achieve whatever like dream career goal that you have, like whatever you want to do and whatever you want to do for fun or what you want to do for work, bro. Go ahead and do it. Unless it's something kind of wild, go for it. You know what I'm saying? But love to appreciate you guys, man. And rest in peace, like I said, Terry Bollea, Hulk Hogan. And I'm not even gonna do my typical outro, but love to appreciate you guys, man. And I shall see y'all in the next video, man. Peace.